I have said time and time again that journalism is a career path, or what do we want to call it? A skill, a I don't even know the word for it, but it is a career path that does not require you to go to some fancy school. You don't need to go to Columbia. You don't need to go to wherever to get your journalism degree or your communications degree. You just need to be somebody who journals the goings on, the happenings of wherever it is that you live. Or, you might do it on a community level, national level, world level. It doesn't really matter. But and I've defended that position because that is my story, right? I work as a reporter for a local news agency. I did not go to journalism school. I was trained on the job, kind of the way journalists of old were, right? You get a job, you work in the newsroom, you work your way up, that sort of thing. But I am very much second guessing that entire position now because we have got, I don't want to, we've got so-called, my goodness, my hair is doing something here. Hold on. Let's do that. There we go. We have got so-called citizen journalists in the Nancy Guthrie case that have inserted themselves into the discussion, right? They no longer are reporting the news, they are making the news, and that is a really, really bad idea. And so while we're going to frame this around the Nancy Guthrie case, this conversation, we're going to be talking about responsible human behavior. I feel like I'm a little hot here. I'm going to pull back the microphone. Responsible citizen journalism, responsible journalism. We're going to call out some folks that have been behaving badly. We're going to try to learn for ourselves how not to behave because we don't want to be these guys. And along the way, we're going to learn what's going on with the case, what's going on around the case, like Sheriff Nanos. What else have I got? Oh my goodness, get my list up. What else have we got? In True Crime Headlines, we're going to be looking at Sheriff Nanos. We're going to be looking at the Long Island serial killer case. Some strange news there. A little news out of the Anna Kepner case, which we went into in depth yesterday. And we've got some good news along with 3 questions. So we got a lot to cover. We got a 15-gallon show that we need to fit into a 5-gallon bucket. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be a good one. I hope you'll stick with me. This video contains mature themes and discussions intended only for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to another true crime conversation with me, Gavin Fish. I am so glad that you would check in with me, that you would spend some time with me to hang out here on YouTube or on Spotify or on your podcast, wherever it is that you are. I'm glad that you've joined us. Thank you for doing that. Please tell us in the live stream where you are joining us from. I love that part. I love to know where you guys are. I love to see the regulars. I love to see the newbies. I love to see people who are near and far. So definitely check in there. I am, for you YouTube live stream viewers, I'm going to stick in a goal for super chats. I'm super grateful. Maybe use a different modifier there, Gavin. I'm uber grateful. I'm very grateful. I'm gratefulissimo for the generosity of so many of you who watch the channel, who share my videos, who subscribe and like, who give of your hard-earned treasure to either be a member or a patron over on Patreon, or who offer me super chats and super stickers. You guys are awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing that. It makes it so that the work that I do in putting together this program for you pays off so I can keep doing it. So thank you. I really appreciate it. All right, let's do a quick little recap-a-rooney, if we can, of this case. This is the Nancy Guthrie case. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old. She is taken in the middle of the night out of her sanctuary, her home, where she has lived for decades, where she has raised her family, where she has memories, where she lived when she lost her husband. This is her sanctuary, her place. And criminals, horrible people, in the middle of the night, I think people, we know at least one person, went in there, injured her, and took her out, and she has never been heard from, seen again. It is most likely that her days here in this mortal coil have come to an end because of the nefarious and evil actions of these people, at least one of whom was caught on video wearing a mask, wearing gloves, armed. It's a disgusting, horrifying, and infuriating case that has the nation and the world captivated. And for good reason, right? This could be our mother. This could be our grandmother. It is somebody's mother and grandmother. She is. She is their loved one. They're the center of their world. And she was taken, and it is just beyond the pale that this kind of crime happens. I hate crimes against the elderly and children. I'm worked up. I'm worked up. We just got started. There I am spilling water on my keyboard. I'm so worked up. Wanda, can you bring me off the edge? Maybe Wanda can give me just a little, some music to... Okay. Wanda's my music director, everybody. Thank you, Wanda. That helps a lot. Wanda's my music director. She sometimes is the person who takes me off the ledge. Why is my... There we go. Okay. Where was I? Oh, I was angry, but it's okay. There's something else to be angry about, okay? Here on the channel, over the last couple of weeks, there have been a couple of stories that are alrededor, right? They surround the story. They are not the story. They shouldn't be the story, but they surround the story, so we have to talk about it. One of those has been the whole JLR saga, right? This is a guy who is a YouTuber, a successful YouTuber, has a big channel with over 500,000 subscribers. Many of his followers are just, how would I describe them tastefully and I guess without besmirching them? I wanted to use the word rabid. They're ardent. They're ardent followers, and they will go to great lengths to not only support him, but intimidate those who I don't know, don't support him, right? And that became a story that kind of surrounded the Nancy Guthrie case because he has been on the ground, quote unquote, investigating. I would call it more like activism, more than investigation. That's just my take. I mean, you might disagree. But he now is, I think he's still there. Last time I checked, I haven't checked in the last couple of days. I think he's still there. And there was an article that I brought you yesterday in headlines that doesn't name him specifically, and it may not be about him. It may be about any number of other people, but I'm suspicious that it is about him, and I want to start there. But I don't know that it's about him. I'm just suspicious. Okay. So for those of you who were on last night, you have seen this article but I thought that I would bring it again to frame this because, again, we are talking about my profession, something that I came to later on in life, but have grown to love. And I kind of feel protective of it, like a big brother with his kid sister, right? Like I can pick on my profession, but you may not. That's kind of how I feel about it. This written by Marissa Orr. Here is the article, day 72 of Nancy Guthrie case. This came out 2 days ago. We are now at day 74. Neighborhood patrols increase after YouTuber harassing complaints. Again, Marissa Orr for KVOA. And we don't need to read the whole thing, but this will set our stage. Okay. Dateline is Tucson, Arizona. It has been 72 days since the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. As the search continues for the 84-year-old, there is an update regarding an increase in patrols due to YouTuber harassing complaints. Now, that is a weirdly phrased sentence. It should, at least as I understand it, I mean, it's grammatically correct, but I would write it as due to an increase, or regarding an increase in patrols due to complaints of harassment by a YouTuber or YouTubers. I think that's what Marissa meant in her reporting. And like I said, she wrote it correctly. I kind of stumbled on it. News 4 Tucson, this is KVOA, learned that the Pima County Sheriff's Department attended a recent homeowners association meeting for Guthrie's Catalina Foothills neighborhood. At that meeting, some of the neighbors complained about a YouTuber. Okay, so it's a single YouTuber harassing residents in the area. PCSD confirmed that they have also received similar complaints from Guthrie's daughter, Annie. I think they're... Marissa, I'm sorry. I'm picking apart. There should be a comma there and there, but that's okay. That's okay. We're fine. So, complaints from Guthrie's daughter, Annie, in relation to her neighborhood. Mooney, you were a school teacher, right? Am I right on this? There should be commas. But you know what? I over-comma things. It's fine. The department has increased patrols in both areas due to those complaints. And then blah, 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 blah. I think that's pretty much, then it goes into the story. Okay. So there are complaints by neighbors in the neighborhood of Nancy Guthrie and in the nearby neighborhood of Annie that there is a YouTuber that is harassing them. Consequently, the Pima County Sheriff's Department have increased their patrols. Now, I have done my fair share of clashing, friendly clashing with police while I'm carrying out the duties of my job. One of the, and here I am putting myself in the story again, but it's an anecdote. One of the things that we will do as reporters is we will be doing something that is constitutionally protected, that is not only protected, but important that we do. And police won't like what we're doing, and so they will try to intimidate you out of doing the thing. Sometimes they don't like it because what you're doing might be distasteful, and sometimes it is. It requires a journalist there, though, in order to create the record, right? So I've had my fair share of those kinds of incidents. Like I can think of one right now that was in a city here in Western Pennsylvania where there was a shooting, and it was in the middle of the night. And it was like 10 o'clock at night. I go out to do photojournalism, to get photography of it. Another journalist will be writing the story because breaking news. I'm out there getting photography of it. I'm outside of the taped off, cordoned off area, and I have a long lens and a good camera, and I'm taking pictures at night. Now, the police found this distasteful because what I didn't know is that the victim was a victim of himself. Nevertheless, I was assigned, and it was something that was important, and so I was taking pictures, and an entire police department without their captain tried to intimidate me out of there threatened me with arrest. The whole thing. I ended up calling 911 and going, these police officers are threatening me with arrest. I'm outside of their crime scene, and I got a call back from the chief. They got radio calls and everything. It was like, so this kind of thing happens, right? But if you are just out, like, if you're doing something that's not a protected activity, if you're out there harassing people, yeah, the police will come and they will arrest you. They can, they should. And that is what, I mean, that sets the stage for the conversation that we're going to have today. But before I continue, I want to check in with you guys in the live chat. I think I saw a super chat come in as I was doing my my diatribe. Let's see, Lady Saga, thank you very much for super chat. I deeply appreciate it. Thank you. We're on our way to our goal. I appreciate you. Thanks. Okay, where are you guys checking in from? Mooney is digging the stripes. Do you like this? I have decided that I want to wear natural fibers from now on. So I am trying out linen for the first time in my life, and I gotta say it's a comfortable shirt. It breathes well, and thank you. I like the stripes myself. Thank you. Hillbilly says, you do a good job, Gavin. Well, thank you very much. Bama Beth is in the house. Good to see you. Let's see. Prague, Tracy Burns is in the house. Prague is in the house. Thank you very much. Love Prague. Jenny says, the difference from your face now compared to when you recorded your intro is amazing. Way to go. Thank you. Yeah, I probably need to re-record the intro and outro. I'll keep the music, though. Don't worry, guys. Salisbury, Tennessee is here. Sharky Sharona is melting again in Lake Tahoe. Omaha, Nebraska is here. The nickel capital of Canada. Happy Valley, Phoenix, Arizona. Guam is here. Jacksonville, Florida. I'm sorry, Northern Kentucky, Jacksonville, Florida. Portland, Oregon. Vancouver, Missouri. Eastern Kentucky. Toledo, Ohio. We got any fellow Welshies or Brits. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I appreciate you subscribers too. Thank you very much. Viewing from Santa Claus land, hint, not the North Pole. Sinterklaas. You're going to have to give me more. I'm not sure. Not sure. Seattle, Jersey Shore is here. I live where James Beard was born and lived before New York. All right. Alaska is here. Hillbilly, thank you. Prayers for Nancy and her family. Fife, Scotland. We've got, okay, watching from the city where Keanu Reeves grew up. Was it Toronto? I don't know. For some reason, he strikes me as a Toronto guy. He's so chill and polite. Hello from where Alabama, Georgia, and Florida meet. All right, since you know where I live already, how about a new clue for a nearby city? This city is south of me and is mentioned in Carly Simon's song, You're So Vain. Saratoga, I believe, would be the name of that city. That's a good one. All right, British Columbia in the house. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. I could go on and on and on. You guys are amazing. And thanks for checking in. That's probably my favorite. That's probably my favorite part of the show. It's just like making new friends. Making new friends. Okay. Where are we going to go from here, Gavin? Let's take it back over to you guys will notice if you're on YouTube, it'll be in the description below. If you're on a podcast, it'll be in the show notes. Lots and lots of links tonight. I've got so much to go through tonight. But we've set the stage about what we're talking about, but I now want to maybe escalate things a little bit and talk about what the local impact in Tucson has been from like content creators being on the ground. It's not just YouTubers, right? It's content creators, local news organizations, national news organizations, It has been disruptive, if you guys remember. But let's read from the AP here. But this was back in February. Do you guys remember this? From Jacques Billaud and Sejal Govindarao, writing for the AP. Dateline Phoenix. This again back February 25th. The no parking zone around the home of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie's mother, where journalists and social media streamers have stationed themselves over the past 3 weeks since her disappearance, is being widened in response to bitter complaints from neighbors about congested roads, trespassing, and trash left alongside roadways. I think that these fine folks living out there in the Catalina foothills put up with a lot, right? Put up with a lot. It wasn't just a media circus. I mean, it was a media circus, but it wasn't just that. It was littering and it was trespassing. Just, people sometimes just feel completely empowered to go, oh, this neighborhood doesn't have fences. I guess I will just walk across this area to see what Nancy's backyard looks like or whatever, right? And again, not supposed to put myself in a story, but when we moved here to Western Pennsylvania for the first time in our lives, we experienced a place where there just aren't fences. Just aren't all that many fences, right? And I was watching my kids. I was looking out the back window of the house, watching my kids jump on the trampoline when just a stranger walked through. My kids were like 5 and 2, and a full grown stranger just walked through my backyard. I ran out there. What are you doing? She's like, oh, I just like to cut through here to go to my house. Stop. Don't do that. You do not have permission to be on my property. Like, I just happen to watch you as you're going. I don't know you, right? And I'm sure that's exactly what these people in Nancy Guthrie's and Annie's neighborhood feel like. Like, why are you trespassing on my property? Continuing this article back in February, Pima County officials say an effort over the weekend to have one-way traffic flow on the road in front of Nancy Guthrie's house in the Catalina foothills just outside Tucson hasn't worked as they hoped, leading to expanded parking restrictions. And then it talks about, new restrictions, violators, what it's gonna take. The constant presence of news crews, bloggers, curious onlookers has drawn mixed reaction from neighbors. Some appreciated the attention the case has been getting. Others have placed traffic cones and signs on their properties to keep people off. Yeah, one of my biggest pet peeves is people parking on my driveway. I hate it. Do not ever park on my driveway. Ever. That is not for you. That is for me, my wife, our children, and the guests that we deem may do that. And my whole life, I have had people parking on or in front of my driveway. It drives me crazy. So yeah, they're putting out traffic cones. Please don't block me in, that kind of stuff. Authorities say tents, generators, satellite trucks set up along the road have created congestion and safety concerns, yada, 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 right? So I mean, this whole like circus, the trespassing, the littering, the curious onlookers, the well-intentioned people that were curious and may have wanted to leave flowers on a makeshift memorial for Nancy, people who deeply care. There's a wide range of professionals that have crews, pop-up tents and generators and battery backups and all that stuff. It created an issue. And this is back in February, right? We're now in the middle of April. Okay. So moving forward, it's actually a couple days back, but then, this article from The Guardian from February 22nd, so a few days before the last article we looked at, this one starts talking about, okay, now we've got concern as an industry here, right? This is a huge story, and the journalism and media industry are going, wait a minute, I don't like these amateur YouTube citizen detectives. And are they putting the case in jeopardy? And they're starting asking these questions, right? And this is a responsible question to ask. And I am asking the question of myself as well, because while I have not been out in Tucson, I have not been out on the ground, I have been reporting on the case. I think that having eyeballs on this case is good. I think it keeps it in the public zeitgeist. It makes it so it's more likely that somebody might call with a lead. Somebody might say to themselves, "Ooh, I want that reward." I think there's value in it, but is there also a danger of putting the case at jeopardy, especially when it comes to misinformation, right? I hate that word. I hate that. Misinformation and disinformation is such a politically loaded word, but poor reporting or full on just speculating and speaking in facts rather than in actual editorial where everybody understands, hey, this is editorial, this is opinion, that kind of stuff. So this written by Elena Demopoulos from The Guardian back in February. She writes, self-declared sleuths have inserted themselves in the search for Nancy Guthrie, compromising the investigation for views and clicks. On the 10th day for the search of Nancy Guthrie, reporters camped outside of the missing woman's home noticed a strange man strut right up to the front door. It had been more than a week since the mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie had disappeared, and authorities had just announced they had a new lead from ring footage of what looked like a potential subject attempting to tamper with the doorbell camera, which we've all seen that video, right? I'll put it up again. On the morning of her disappearance. So now, who was this unknown person clad in a gray top and black pants, carrying a large bag and striding to the door? I cannot believe that this happened. It was a Domino's delivery driver. A Domino's delivery driver. Quote, never seen something quite like this, local ABC reporter Ford Hatchett wrote on X. Delivery was for an independent journalist out here who is live streaming. JLR investigates. A viewer ordered it for him. Now, I have no idea if Mr. Riches was like, hey, order me a pizza, and somebody ordered it for him, or just an overenthusiastic viewer was like, hey, Jonathan looks hungry there. I'm going to send him a pizza. Either way, a Domino's delivery driver full on walks up to the door. Okay, continuing the article. This is JLR Investigates is the name of the YouTube channel run by Jonathan Lee Riches, who describes himself as a fearless investigator and has more than 540,000 subscribers that watch his dispatches from outside Guthrie's Tucson home. Quote, we can't believe we have to say this, but media on scene, please do not order food delivery to a crime scene address. The Pima County Sheriff's Department wrote in a statement, this interferes with an active investigation. Please also respect private property laws. Okay. There was something that... Oh! This reminded me of something. Again, not trying to insert myself into the story here, but an anecdote that I want to share, okay? Here in my area, there was a story that had to do with the alleged inappropriate sexual or romantic language between a female high school teacher and a minor student. Now, this obviously is a big deal in any community, right? And I was assigned to do the investigation, not to do the investigation, but to to work on the series. I needed to call school boards and principals, and I needed to try to make contact with the victim's family and, who had been speaking out, and the alleged, the teacher, and all this stuff, right? Doing so in a responsible but bold manner. And covering school board meetings, the whole thing. It was this big thing. Well, in the meantime, there was another guy who made a Facebook page, and he called it, well, you guys know I'm in Western Pennsylvania. I think he called it the Butler News. Butler is a town north of Pittsburgh that you guys might remember it because that's where an assassin shot at Donald Trump when he was running for president the second time, hit him in the ear. That was Butler, PA, right? So, by the way, I had been assigned to cover that, but had to leave town. So I was supposed to be at that. But anyway, I think he called it the Butler News. And he quickly racked up huge Facebook following. And I talked to him a couple of times, and he told me, "Oh, I've got witnesses, I've got statements, I got people who are talking to me, Gavin, and I will share it with you." And I went, "Great." But that never came. Didn't matter how many times I asked for it, it never came. He never had it. He never, at least I think, he never had it. He did give me some contact information for some people that had like third party, heard rumors, this, that, and the other, but he never had it. But he was going online talking about, this definitely happened, and she definitely did this, and I've got the receipts, and I've got all the tea, and he's racking up hundreds of thousands of followers and thousands of dollars by acting that way, right? So it's tempting. It's tempting to act that way. I look at a channel like JLR Investigates, and I see 500 plus thousand subscribers, and I go, dude, if I only did that, if I did that shtick, I would be working this full time. We wouldn't have to struggle on certain months. I have those conversations with myself, but then I remember that Facebook news organization that put himself out there. I actually don't think it was called the Butler News now. I can't remember, but put himself out there as a news source, a credible news source, and he basically printed money. And I even thought, like last week, hey, I wonder if I could hire him to run my social media. No, Gavin, don't do that, because what kind of stuff is he going to put out there, right? So anyway, that was a bit of a tangent, and I didn't even do the tangent music, but anyway, continuing the article, national media has descended on crime scenes since the dawn of tabloids. Take two, Javi. Javi, you going to edit that out for me? Thanks, buddy. Since the dawn of tabloids more than 100 years ago, the modern media circus only became more invasive with the advent of the 24/7 news cycle. Yeah, I actually know the guy who Ted Turner hired to create CNN. He ruined the world for us, man. But anyway, the Nancy Guthrie investigation is no different, but this time an even more meddling type of reporter has come to define the 3-week investigation, the true crime streamer. Self-declared sleuths like Riches have inserted themselves into the investigation, broadcasting their videos to a sizable audience. He posts streams with titles like Breaking, Manhunt, Nancy Guthrie Kidnapping Live. But once you click through, you mostly see Riches simply sitting in his car. On day 19 of the investigations, he was at one point documenting a police shift change at the scene of the crime. Bathroom break, he narrated to his 29,000 viewers. That drove me nuts. That kind of stuff just drives me nuts. Riches does try to offer more than just dry footage of the house's exterior. He has investigated, that is in quotes, tips, such as an unrelated car tow and a hospital airlift, as if these leads might go somewhere. Followers might appreciate Rich's tenacity. Yeah, but the false tips breed misinformation, that word that I hate again. State Representative Alma Hernandez slammed wannabe reporters who have now caused more harm than good to the entire situation and put this serious case in jeopardy. And then it goes into, before his true crime pivot, Rich has spent time in jail for wire fraud. Made headlines in 2012 for driving to Connecticut in the wake of the Sandy Hook tragedy, posing as an elementary school shooter's uncle. Ooh, he is known for his prolific filing of absurd lawsuits and blah, blah, blah. Okay, doesn't really matter. But, I mean, this is a serious concern. It's and I don't know if his JLR that is harassing neighbors or that neighbors feel like there is harassment going on. I don't know, but, and he is not the only one, right? So where is that line of responsibility? Because we're going to get into it here, coming up. There is a place for citizen journalism, and sometimes it is super valuable, so important. I mean, there have been major news stories that have been uncovered that have changed. I mean, they've changed policies of governments that have come out on TikTok videos by dudes with cell phone cameras. So it's important. It's important work. But where is the line? Let me check in with you guys to see what you are saying over in the live stream. Let me refreshify here real quick. See if you guys are saying anything that you want me to check out. It's Doodlebug. Didn't put GF in the comment, but I caught it. YouTubers 99% stayed in one spot and they picked up after themselves and others. True. Probably true. I don't know if that it's true. I don't know that it's false. Probably true. But it only takes one or two, right? Coffee time for D. Content providers are needed, but you have to respect people's homes for sure. Let's see. Debbie says, if you wouldn't do it or want it at your home, then don't do it at someone else's. Yeah, it's just the standard golden rule, right? Do unto others. Let's see. Elizabeth McMasters, Esquire. Gavin, I think if Nanos would have had regular press conferences, it may not have been this bad. An interesting take, Elizabeth. They saw an information void and took advantage of it, in my opinion. That is a terrific insight. Had there been constant updates to the media, not only would that have influenced the way on the ground YouTube streamers would have handled things, it would have changed the way the media handled it as well, right? Great comment. I hadn't thought about that at all. K-Hunk1, Gavin, there's no real markings to indicate property lines. I understand. However, it is somebody's property if it is not on the street in that neighborhood. In almost any neighborhood, it is somebody's property, and it only takes about, 16 milliseconds for a thinking person to say, yeah, I shouldn't be on people's property. Now, listen, I would also come to the defense of bold, good investigative journalists, people like Brian Enton. I bring him up all the time, right? Brian is a very, very, very good investigative reporter who will boldly approach people, who will get interviews, but he will not go and just trespass on somebody's property. I can't imagine that he would do that. I imagine that he would ask for permission, because that's what any reporter would do. Any trained reporter, somebody who's been on the job for a little while, somebody that's not just so overbearing and overly hyped about his or her own importance. I guess that's my point, right? Thank you for the comments. Great. Yeah, poor delivery guy. I'd be mortified. Yeah, there. True crime junkies. I see your comment. I, I I'm not gonna try to purposefully point out people specifically unless they are in an article that I'm reading, and the one that you want me to check out is in an article that we're going to get to. Just keep on going. Mooney says, Gavin, I think you missed my ever so clever comma comment. Here goes. Commas save lives. Let's eat grandma versus let's eat grandma. Yeah, that's a good one. To be fair, he took the front stoop pics. Yeah, that is true. Talking about Brian Enton. Yes, his producer did go up to the front door. However, that is within the normal bounds of journalism, right? That is within the normal confines. Okay, I'm going to go up to the front door and knock on the door, see if anybody will talk to me. If they don't talk to me, I have something to report. They didn't answer the door. If they do talk to me, I have something to report. They answered the door and talked to me. Maybe it's off the record, maybe it's on background. Maybe they say, get off my property, which I then turn around and do. See, I can use the curtilage as a reporter, and that's perfectly fine. I can use the curtilage the way a normal person would use. What I should not do is walk around on people's property, and that's the difference. So, and actually, to your point, Ohio Palm Mom, I think it probably hurt the investigation releasing the photography and video of the blood on the front porch. I think it probably did hurt the investigation. But I don't think that Brian Enton and his crew were outside of journalism ethics. I think that the scene shouldn't have been opened back up. That's what I think. Let's see. Apple says, I respect you don't harass folks for content. I do my best. Okie dokie. That's all you guys have with the GF on there. Want to make sure that we don't go too long tonight. Thank you to all of you who are joining me, by the way. We've got 679 people on by my count, and I am grateful that you would spend your time with me, especially those of you who are Spotify Premium members. I can't tell you how much it helps the channel. If you're a Spotify Premium member, you can watch this video, especially if you are a Rewatch Crew member and you're a Spotify Premium member. Go watch it on Spotify. It helps me out. Huge, way bigger than YouTube. And yeah, I guess I don't need to beat that horse. Okay, what was the next thing? Okay, talking about the motive here. Let's talk about why this kind of thing is happening. Why the rise of citizen journalism? What are the good things about it? What are the bad things about it? And I actually think that there's a pretty good article from the 17th of last month that talks about this. This written by Megan Palin from the New York Post. YouTubers making thousands of dollars from ghoulishly hanging around crime scenes and unfounded theories. Okay, let me just pause here and offer a little criticism of the New York Post. They are rather a tabloid, and writing that headline is a tabloid style headline. Also, I am a YouTuber making money not by hanging around crime scenes, but by covering crimes. So I am also in the sights of this article, but I also kind of think it's fair that I am. Okay, this again talks about the police scene. Or, I'm sorry, the pizza delivery guy. Talks about JLR, who's camped out. And then I'll continue here. Okay, quote, we're trying to give people a view from an outsider looking in to see what it's like, especially after the mainstream media goes home, said Alina Smith, co-founder of Crime Scene Collective, a network of streamers who are also in Tucson, Arizona at the Guthrie house. Quote, I ask my supporters and followers what else they want, what they're looking for, and I try to give them that, she told the Post. To casual observers, it may seem bizarre to watch for hours only to see little more than a police shift change happen, but streamers who have built their brands giving daily commentary on missing person cases, murders, and police investigations have devoted communities who treat the cases like interactive mysteries. Rich's, JLR, investigated tips, including an unrelated car tow and a hospital airlift. He felt he could be connected to the case. He also takes requests for super chat, cash donations, as do I, right? Quote, is the doormat still there? One woman asked after donating $5. Rich's obliged. Walking closer to Guthrie's house and zooming in on the mat. Yep, have a look, he replied. They haven't ever taken it away for testing. These DIY online channels can prove lucrative too, with top live streamers pulling in up to $30,000 a week, according to Smith, with fans flying in from other states to meet them. Followers say they admire the doggedness and feel like they're part of the investigation. However, they are not, and this is where police say problems arise. During the ongoing search for Guthrie, and in the absence of suspects and leads, there has been intense speculation, often fueled by live streamers. A fever pitch was reached with baseless accusations made against Nancy's son-in-law, Tommaso Cioni, as he was the last person to see the 84-year-old grandmother alive. I will come to the defense of streamers here, okay? It wasn't a streamer who made that accusation. That accusation came from the mainstream media. Anyway, fifth grade teacher Dominic Evans, 48, said accusations against him exploded online after amateur investigators realized he played in a band with Cioni, and he had to send his kids away and hide inside his own home with the lights off as people went to great efforts to catch a glimpse of him. Guys, we are not those people, okay? We will just be happy making less than $30,000 a week. I mean, there may come a time, I hope there's a time when I am on the ground. I would love that. I would love to be on the ground for some of these cases, as I've said, as late as yesterday. I'd love to be on the ground with some of these cases, but I'm not going to be a JLR Investigates. I would model myself after a person like Brian Enton or other investigative journalists that do things the right way. We don't want people having to send their children away. We don't want we don't want to be making wild accusations against people. We don't want to have them hide in their homes. On February 16th, Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos put out a statement refuting rumors and stating Guthrie's family members had been cleared of suspicion. So, let's see. There was another one. Another case recently cautioned as to what can happen if people broadcast libelous and defamatory allegations online. Texas TikTok tarot card reader Ashley Guillard repeatedly and baselessly claimed in videos that University of Idaho professor Rebecca Schofield had a secret romance with one of the 4 victims of the Moscow, Idaho student murders and had ordered the killings. She made the claims from November 22 onward, despite a lawsuit filed by Schofield a month later, stating she had never met the victims and was out of the state when the murders occurred. Even after police said Schofield was not involved, and despite cease and desist orders from lawyers, Guillard continued to make claims that led to a Boise court to rule against her and award Schofield $10 million in damages. Meanwhile, in December last year, quiet Brentwood, LA block turned into a live stream circus in the hours after Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle were allegedly murdered. They were murdered inside the mansion, allegedly by their own son. See, we should switch around that sentence a little bit. With disorderly social media influencers causing headaches for both neighbors and cops. Several of them erupted in verbal arguments outside the crime scene and were forced by police to turn down music blasting from a car. One man stood in front of the home wearing a black sweatshirt topped with a gold Burger King crown and repeatedly accused members of the media of assaulting him, claiming at one point, "He touched my property and is invading my creative bubble." No arrests were made. So yeah, we got issues. We've got issues. Now there is a place for Um, citizen journalism, 100%. But this is crossing a line, man. These kinds of stories, they're just absolutely crossing a line. It's like they are. What are we doing as consumers of media? What are we doing? This is causing me to take a hard look at myself. Do you guys watch Smarter Every Day? Um, Smarter Every Day recently, it's a YouTube channel, an engineer named Destin, who reminded me of a lesson that I got years and years ago. So cool, about something called the Johari window, which is basically a way for one to analyze oneself, right? It's a method for self-discovery, of expanding the things you know about yourself and learning things that you don't know about yourself. It's terrific. And I'm having one of those moments, right? Like, what are we doing as content creators and as content consumers that is causing a market for behavior like this, right? It's creating a market for behavior like this. And maybe it's not, I mean, this is just a little reflection, right? Maybe it's not just consumers driving it or content creators driving it. Maybe it's also that the trust in the national media, the so-called mainstream media, is at an all-time low. And so people are looking for someone they trust. And then when they find somebody that, I don't know, they identify with, they latch on to that person. I don't know. It's worth trying to figure this out, though, for sure. But the reason that content creators are doing it 100%, in my opinion, is financially. Well, no. That's overstating it. I would say the primary motivator for content creators is financially motivated. That includes me, right? But it also includes police officers. It includes judges and prosecutors and defense attorneys. Everybody's primary motivation is financial. So a main financial or a primary financial motivation in and of itself is not unrighteous, I guess, but it can become unhealthy, especially if we're talking about so much money, right? If I was out there making $30,000 a week, crying out loud, you make more than the average American. You're in the top 1% or 2% of American earners after 4 weeks of being on the ground, right? You're six figures. So yeah, it can become unhealthy and unrighteous. The motivation itself, in and of itself, is not that, but it can become that. Um, Let me see what questions you guys are asking. Leslie Hankins says, Gavin, the better self-inquiry question is, why are we not holding police accountable to do the job? When there is a vacuum, it will be filled by others seeking truth. I think that's a good question. I that and indeed it might even be a better question than what I was saying. I was kind of focusing my ire at the media coverage of it, of the traditional media, and you're focusing on police. I do think that police could do a better job of just being transparent. A very good example of transparency in police was in the investigation of the case of Monique and Spencer Tepe, right? Now, police in that case, they couldn't, there were a lot of things they couldn't tell us, but we were all confident that um, they were working on it because they were talking to the media and they were answering questions and they were putting out statements and they were handling it really, really well. So yeah, I think you've got a good point. Um, let's see. Coffee Time for D says, "Hey Slot GF would thank you and play music for a $100 super sticker." Would play. Hmm. I would play you music for a super. That's hilarious. No. Again. Archangel Marici says, "Gavin, I'm sorry, but why the doormat wasn't taken to analyze? Was that statement correct?" I don't know. I don't know. I mean, JLR reported it was. I don't know if it was or not. Leslie says TMZ played a bigger role in the case, possibly throwing off track. All YouTube people put together did a fraction of the possible harm that TMZ did. Why are we not outraged at TMZ? I kind of am. I mean, right now we're couching this discussion in the complaints that YouTubers are harassing people, or a YouTuber is harassing people. These are allegations. I don't know if he is harassing or she, or if they think that he is or feel that he is, but yeah, that's probably why I'm not. That's why I'm not talking about TMZ. It hasn't been part of the couching of the conversation. It's Doodlebug. Gavin, it's the people who literally believe they have just as much right to be there 24/7. Hang on just one second. I just heard a loud crash in my house. Maybe that was thunder or something. Okay, it's Doodlebug. It's the people who literally believe they have just as much right to be there 24/7 as the homeowners that bother me. Smoking weed, cussing loudly, shining bright lights, etc. I agree with that. Lee says Mike Ruiz with Fox Digital did a great job too. Very respectful. Indeed, he did. Mike's a professional too. Mike's terrific. Let's see. Oh, it's storming. That was thunder that I heard through my headphones. Crazy. Autumn and I live in the same place. Whew. Okie dokie. All right. So what did I plan next? I have to go to my notes, right? Let's see. It got even messier than this, right? Going back to previous reporting again, this one from March 2nd, right? Ghoulish, again, using the word ghoulish. What is it with the New York Post? Ghoul this and ghoul that. Ghoulish Nancy Guthrie streamers are feuding with each other outside her house as crime scene becomes grim spectacle. Again, New York Post is pretty tabloidy. This is written by Alex Oliveira. Ghoulish streamers are turning Nancy Guthrie's Tucson home into a grim spectacle as they feud with each other a month after the 84-year-old grandmother went missing. One streamer who goes by Kiki showed up at the crime scene over the weekend wearing a tiny pair of booty shorts and a crop top, accompanied by a leather-clad cameraman. But she got into a fight online with other streamers who were on site, including the true crime Gadfly JLR Investigates and another person known online as Criminal Network. They accused her of using the scene of the Guthrie tragedy to stage a risque photo shoot. Oh, they were salivating at that. That caused drama. And yeah. Footage from Kiki's stream captured somebody appearing to call her embarrassing until she flipped them the middle finger. The clip ended up on X, where the streamers had it out with each other. Quote, adults talking, pay attention. Kiki, once this becomes about me or you, it's no longer about Nancy. So unless you're helping to find her respectfully, STFU, Criminal Network wrote. Yeah, that was helpful. I will no longer entertain you or your hidden motives. Nancy, notice your name is not Nancy. Okay, but here's the thing. Those kinds of comments insert themselves into, and this is the kind of false righteousness that if it were in a religious setting, people would call, well, you know, what am I, what is the word that I'm looking for? Somebody help me out. Well, hypocrisy, right? This is false righteousness. Say her name. Her name is Nancy. Your name is not Nancy. Don't put yourself in the middle of this. And yet, by making that comment, this person is indeed putting themselves in the middle of it. And they're doing it by design. That they're not doing it accidentally. You can't convince me of that. This is my opinion, but it's being done by design. Okay, so yeah, you successfully turned all the attention from Nancy Guthrie and diverted it to me, Kiki wrote, calling out JLR's account. I think the FBI would applaud you for your job well done. While you were focusing all your attention on me, I was reporting the facts and raising awareness in my own video. She added blah, 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 right? So now we've got just idiots, which, I mean, the internet's full of them, right? We've just got idiots arguing and they're making money doing it. Okay, so we got messy behavior, the shift, of focus away from the case itself. Oh, let's see. There's this article. We vote on whether the family is guilty. Meet YouTube's Nancy Guthrie sleuth by Kieran Southern from thetimes.com. Okay, 2,000 watching. Wow. Jimmy Williams says into the iPhone he is holding with a selfie stick. There's speculation maybe she's in Mexico. Nancy Guthrie this is from February 23rd. For the live streamers covering the suspected abduction, doing nothing is not an option. Williams, who runs the Dolly Vision YouTube channel, is one of the internet personalities who flock to a case that has proven irresistible for true crime obsessives. Nancy, 84, is the mother, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Williams, a 51-year-old former electrician, has been standing outside the Guthrie home from morning until night for days. Regardless of what is happening on scene, he has to entertain the viewers watching their thousands. His folksy charm has helped him amass almost 100,000 YouTube subscribers. Quote, "It's a hurry up and wait thing," he said, of filling the hours of dead time. You're waiting to catch the moment that everybody wants to see. It's almost like fishing. If you're in a rush, you're not going to catch any fish. But if you're patient, it's going to be here when everything goes down. In true crime, patience is key. It's just those few moments each day that really captivate everyone, and you've got to be here to catch those moments. Williams was on the scene when the FBI briefly erected a white tent outside Guthrie's home, a development that provoked excitement in a case where news was slow to trickle. He flew to Tucson from his home in Virginia Beach on the East Coast days after the story broke. He left briefly before returning to the delight of his audience, who feast on every morsel of Guthrie content. So, yeah. Quote, "If overwhelmingly they want me to go somewhere else or do something, I'm willing to do it. You can't get Fox News to leave where they're at and set up somewhere else. This is more of a run and gun type of media, and it's just getting bigger and bigger." Okay, so, there have just been all sorts. Now, I want to switch. Instead of focusing on the people who are on scene, let's focus on the citizen journalism perspective of this. Let's see. Yeah, Autumn is saying the storm is wild right now. Yeah. Emmy saying the police are at fault for releasing the crime scene too fast. They certainly should not have done that. Let's see. Man, can you guys hear the rain? It is storming hard out there. I hope we don't lose connection. Antis says, "Gavin, we as the viewers need to be better about who do we choose to follow, subscribe. We should all be better about who gets our views. I wish everyone was as genuinely kind and ethical as you." Well, that was very self-serving to read that comment, but thank you. I think that some of the onus is on viewers. I do. I do. Okay. I'm going to skip one thing, and I want to go over to a 2022 article about the rise of citizen journalism from UK Writers College. This is written, who's it written by? It doesn't say. But it goes like this. "Never before have ordinary citizens contributed so much to gathering and showcasing news. Is this a good thing? And how does it impact traditional journalism?" What is it? Sabasis Roy investigates. Okay. Citizen journalism relies on the contributions of citizens for the process of gathering, analyzing, and disseminating news and information. The Cambridge English Dictionary defines citizen journalism as the activity of recording or writing about news stories when this is done by ordinary people rather than by trained reporters. Abraham Zapruder recorded the assassination of John F. Kennedy on 22 November 1963 with his home movie camera. His footage has become a classic and has been aired frequently on television channels throughout the world. This was long before the technological boom that erupted in the late 90s. The emergence of social media technologies, high-speed internet, and smartphones with powerful cameras are democratizing media. Today, someone will undoubtedly share a video or photo on social media pages when any major event takes place. And by the way, the media will oftentimes show those. People are sharing the news of these events on Twitter or on their Facebook pages or YouTube channels. They also like, share, and comment on it. The war in Ukraine provides a stark example of this. Directly affected people provide the content much faster than any media outlet could ever reach them. There are many such examples of this around the world, whether it is the war in Syria, Libya, or Yemen, the Arab Spring revolutions, the Manchester bombing, or the demonstrations for Black Lives Matter. We see citizens at the forefront of reporting through social media. So, is traditional journalism doomed to extinction now? We must remember that the responsibility of a journalist is to provide accurate, unbiased, and well-informed information. Okay, this is actually a point of view that is refreshing to read, even written in 2022, because, I mean, I remember, I think it was a Real Clear Politics poll. It was a major polling organization. I don't know if it was RCP, but, you know, they do these polls from time to time about the trust in the media and so forth. And one of the polls was they questioned journalists about their role in what it is that they do, and overwhelmingly the journalists, young journalists, people that are working in major newsrooms, are saying, no, it's not my responsibility to provide unbiased information. My bias informs my reporting, not the other way around. And I see it the way it's written here. It needs to be accurate. It needs to be well informed. It needs to be unbiased. If you're a commenter like I am in this, situation, in this forum, then you need to be sure that your audience understands you are providing commentary that is your opinion and it is editorial. It is not the news. But if you are a news reporter like I am in my day job, then yeah, you can't be letting your bias inform your reporting. Traditional journalism needs to be responsible and accountable, but such boundaries do not exist for citizen journalism. The result is that a lot of content on social media is biased and provides a personal perspective on a topic. A citizen journalist can portray a glass as half full or half empty based on his or her point of view. In the age of the ubiquitous reach of social media, this can negatively impact society. Yeah, and a journalist should just simply say, here's a glass that has water in it, and let the viewer or the reader say for themselves whether they think it's half full or half empty. In the age of ubiquitous reach of social media, this can negatively impact society. Noam Chomsky, the celebrated American linguist, philosopher, historian, and social critic, said, "The duty of journalists is to tell the truth. Journalism means you go back to the actual facts, you look at the documents, you discover what the record is, and you report it that way. Traditional journalists must validate the news item appearing on social media. Separating the wheat from the chaff is one of the critical responsibilities. Journalists present a well-balanced news item covering all the perspectives of a story rather than a one-dimension view." I would love your comments on this if you find that to be the case in today's world, because I think that's probably one of the reasons that there's been a rise of citizen journalism, is people don't believe this to be the truth, right? Let's see. Professional journalists have enormous social reach. Their social media pages have huge followers. They can help spread the voice of a citizen journalist to thousands of people all over the world. While citizen journalists report on a single event, traditional journalists can offer a broader perspective. They can visualize a train of events. They can join the dots with their analyses and access data about other events. Therefore, we can see that citizen journalism offers speed and reach that complements traditional journalism, but the role of conventional journalism still remains as an authoritative source of accurate information and a balanced perspective. Echoing the words of acclaimed journalist Christiane Amanpour, good journalism, good television can make our world a better place. That ended up kind of puffy, but I take the point. Okay, the last one I wanted to zoom out on was, where is it? Oh, this from Writer's Digest. This again from 2022. I don't know. We've already kind of beat this horse. Will the journalism industry adapt? That's what I wanted to read. Okay. We're seeing a huge shift in how and where consumers get their news, and journalism is expanding and evolving. People have switched to the internet for convenience and choice and no longer rely on traditional outlets. It's a world of instant information and on-the-scene reporting, and citizens are filling a void left by a mainstream media astoundingly out of touch with ordinary people. Many former traditional journalists, such as Pulitzer Prize-winning Glenn Greenwald, have left the mainstream and established their own news sites, blogs, and newsletters, and successfully utilize online platforms such as Substack, a subscription-based service. Meanwhile, traditional journalism is suffering. Hundreds of local newspapers, magazines, and newsrooms have closed. By the way, in my area, I work for an online publication that has absolutely destroyed what was the 800-pound gorilla in our area. 100 and some odd year old paper it has been relegated to almost nothing because of the work that we do. Now, I mean, I'm not proud of that. I think we should have competition. Well, I guess I am a little proud of it because it doesn't matter why. But the fact of the matter is, hyperlocal news, when done responsibly, citizen journalism, when done responsibly, can add to the journal of our time, I guess is what I'm getting at. Oh, here it is. This is backed up by recent numbers from the Edelman Trust Barometer report, which reveals trust in traditional news journalism is at an all-time low. Just 39% of people in the U.S. said they trust the media, down 6 points from 2021. And remember, this is 2022. Two-thirds of people worldwide view the government and media as divisive forces in society. Established journalists often resent citizen journalists, saying they have no right to the title, as they have none of the skills, training, qualifications, or experience. They are partly correct. Most are amateurs, and the information can be questionable and is just as slanted as traditional media. Huh? The Edelman report also showed a significant dip in people's trust in social media. It was right at 37%. So anyway, that's the part that I wanted to bring up to you guys. So, okay, can we please? I'm just going to. I'm gonna put out. I'm just gonna beg my citizen journalist friends, specifically YouTubers, okay, specifically on the ground in Tucson, YouTuber colleagues, okay. Pull back on the reins a little bit. A lot of bit. Pull back on the reins. Calm down. Stop trespassing. Stop harassing. And start doing real journalism. There are courses that you can take online that will teach you the ethics and responsibilities of journalism. And everybody who is doing citizen journalism, who decides to do it professionally, right, should take those kinds of courses. Or like in my case, and I'm not holding myself up as some like great example, but because it was almost accidental, but I went to work for a good media organization that had to pull back the reins on my behalf. No, Gavin, I'm not publishing that. You cannot say that. No, Gavin. All I heard was no, 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 no for like the first year and a half. This has got to be changed. And I would have temper tantrums. Well, I'm not putting my name on that. Okay, we'll take your name off of it and we will publish it the way I edited it, right? And I'm so grateful looking back that I had editors that would do that to me and for me. So my colleagues, my YouTube colleagues that fancy yourselves citizen journalists, as long as you're creating a journal, I think that you are a citizen journalist. Be more responsible, be more ethical, and 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 be on the ground and do good work. It's awesome that you're there. Just stop the harassing, stop the trespassing, stop the circus, will you? And remember, I mean, what is the point? What is the point in all this? The point. This is the point. 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie is still missing. She's probably dead. And we want to hold whoever did this to her responsible. That is the point. And now, Wanda, I'm going to need you again. Can we get some transition music? Because I think we need to transition to. Oh, Wanda has got other people walking into the booth. Wanda, you guys ready? Okay, transition music. Here we go.
Let's transition now. Yes, transition now.
Yeah, wow. That was talent. Are those your nephews? Amazing. You guys have anything else for us?
Let's transition now. Yes, transition now. Yes, transition now. Yes, transition now. Let's transition now. Yes, transition.
Oh, it's still going.
Now.
That is terrific. Let's do 3 questions.
It's 3 questions with Gavin Fish.
Pow. Okie dokie. In the 3 questions segment, I answer 3 of your questions that you sent to me at 3questions@gavinfish.com. It is 3questions@gavinfish.com. What is it? It's 3questions@gavinfish.com. Spelled out, THRE. Send me 1,000 questions. Send me 1 question. Ask me about the mysteries of the universe. Ask me my favorite color, everything in between. And I promise that I will answer each and every one of those questions to the best of my knowledge. But I get to do it in the order that I see fit. So question number 1 tonight, and I like the ones where you guys can answer the questions too. Those are my favorite ones. From Christina. Would you rather explore the ocean or explore space? This is an easy one for me, Christina. I'm not afraid of water, but I feel like the worst way to die would be drowning. Now, understanding that if you're in space and something happens, you effectively are drowning, right? There's a lack of oxygen, but I don't know, just drowning for me, that's the worst way to go. Plus, in space, you're flying. So I would rather explore space than the ocean. I don't want to be crushed. On the other hand, do I want to like explode rather than implode? Oh, this is taking a dark turn. Dark. Yeah, I would rather explore space, Christina. Thank you very much for the question. From Kelly, if you could be any male professional athlete, who would it be and why? If I could be a professional male athlete. Okay. I want your answers to this. It doesn't have to be male. It could be female, but for me, I'm answering Kelly's question. I think I would want to be, I saw a clip of Tiger Woods way back in the day where he made this chip off of the green in the rough to like 20 feet above the pin, and then it rolled in just perfectly. And he was like celebrating, yeah, and it was celebrating as if he had cured cancer. That is one of the things that I hate about professional sports is ultimately you guys are out there in tights. You've got some apparatus that you need to get something into, through, around, nearby. What sports ball are you going to put in what apparatus? That is basically professional sports. And like American football, that is just angry men in tights aggressively snuggling. It's just not my thing. It's not my thing. But there are a couple of athletes that I love. Okay. Number one, Yogi Berra. Okay. I love Yogi Berra. He didn't take himself seriously. He played a good sports ball game. I do love baseball. I love the game. I don't like the professionalism side of things, but I love Yogi Berra. I thought that he was witty and clever and hilarious. And I think for the very same reason, I would have to say Bob Uecker for number two. Those guys are just hilarious. Never took themselves seriously, though they loved their game, right? And I can respect that. I think that's awesome. So I guess I would choose Yogi Berra and the Uke, Bob Uecker. And question number 3 comes from John. Where did you take the missus on a first date? John, you've opened a can. You have opened a can, John. I have shared this on the channel before. I'm happy to share it again. It's not a super long story, but here's the thing. I met the future Mrs. Fish, my snuggly bear, my sweetie pie, my one and only, through a mutual friend, and we all went to church together. I had moved into the area. I had this old friend. She was a new friend of my snuggly bear, sweetie pie, one and only, and she introduced us. Now, this friend was dating a guy who was a private pilot and had access to a plane, multiple planes. He would rent planes, right? And our mutual friend was saying, hey, my guy friend and I are going on a date. You and the future Mrs. Fish should join us. We are going to fly down to Half Moon Bay and grab dinner. And this friend of ours, this co-friend, this mutual friend of both Kimberly and I, she is the daughter of a private pilot as well. Famous in our circles for flying warbirds and stuff like that. Really cool guy. So she was around aviation her whole life. She was probably attracted to aviators. And so anyway, they invited us to do this as a double date. So I go to Kimberly and I say, hey, would you be interested in going on a double date with me and with this person and that person? I don't want to give their names because I haven't got their permission. But anyway, she goes, that sounds like fun. And I said, what we're going to do is we're going to hop in a plane, private plane, and we're going to fly down from Sacramento to Half Moon Bay. They say it's a beautiful flight. I've never done it before, but we're just going to grab pizza. Are you up for it? She's like, yeah, I'm up for it. And when I pick her up, she was looking good. She was looking, I mean, my wife doesn't overdo things ever. She never has. She's just tasteful. She was looking great. She was wearing an outfit with white pants. It was this beautiful little summer outfit. It was great. It's great. She looks so good. Anywho, we get to the airport, drive to the airport to meet our friends, and we pull up to the ramp. And there's the plane, exactly what I expected. It was a Cessna 182. I think it was a 1956 fastback. Kimberly, the future Mrs. Fish, my sweetie pie, snuggly bear one and only, was expecting more of a Pretty Woman scenario where she was going to be getting onto a private jet, not into a 4-passenger airplane with a prop on the front of it. A Volkswagen with wings is what she called it. She didn't say it then. The other thing about Kimberly that I did not know, because this was our first date, is she gets motion sick. So she just wasn't enjoying herself at all. But we take this beautiful flight. We go from Sacramento, we go down to the Bay Area, we get out over Oakland, we cross over the Bay Bridge, we then cross over the Golden Gate Bridge just as the sun is setting in front of us. We hang a left, we go down the coast, over the water, down the coastline to Half Moon Bay, land at this beautiful little airport, tie down the plane. We go and grab a pizza, we take it out to the marina, we sit on the dock. The sun is now like just kissing the water, and we have pizza, and I think I had some like sparkling cider or something like that, and the four of us just watched the sun go down, eating our pizza and drinking our little bubbly out of the bottle. And then we got in the plane and we flew home the same way. Only it was a different view this time. It was a nighttime view of the Bay Area. It was beautiful. Now, I thought it was the world's greatest first date. If it would have been me flying, that would be the only... what ended up happening is I was like, I got to get my pilot's license. And this friend taught me how to do it. And I found a flight school, found an instructor, and got my license and everything, starting with that date. Kimberly has been in a plane with me exactly 2 more times in the 26 years that we've been married. She just doesn't like it. And she doesn't, she gets sick from the motion sickness, and it's not romantic to her. It's not, she doesn't feel the romance of flight like I do. But that was our first date. I would love to hear about your first dates in the comments. And while you are jotting those down, I do have a couple of headlines. Let's get into it.
True crime headlines.
Pow, okie dokie. Headline number 1 from AOL.com, written by Aaron Johnson. This came out today. New black eye for Nancy Guthrie sheriff. Full story on how deputy was dumped from the force after kidnapping charge. Already facing a recall drive for the still unsolved kidnapping case of Savannah Guthrie's mom, Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos is reeling from a new embarrassment: the arrest of one of his top deputies for kidnapping a female prisoner. Travis Reynolds, 22, was busted on March 26 for wooing a woman he was transporting to county jail into a seedy sex romp at a motel in return for help with her case. The Tucson Police Department has charged. The dirty deputy allegedly told the woman... that is SA. That's exactly what that is. That is SA. The lustful lout has since been canned and now faces charges of kidnapping, but his bust was only the latest black eye for Nanos. Radar Online reported on March 2nd, the 40-year department veteran has been accused of bumbling the Nancy Guthrie crime scene, dragging his feet with the FBI, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, Sheriff Nanos is having issues, man. I wonder if he will even seek re-election. Next one, coming to us from the New York Post in the Rex Heuermann case. Again, kind of a tabloid headline. Junkie who stole ex-police chief's sex toys tried to visit Gilgo Beach serial killer for bizarre sit-down. A career criminal whose scrap with the disgraced Long Island police chief ended the cop's career tried to get a jailhouse sit-down with Gilgo Beach killer Rex Heuermann, a desperate bid to try to implicate the ex-cop in the grisly murders, the Post has learned. Ex-junkie Christopher Loeb, that's disparaging, was viciously beaten by former Suffolk County Police Chief Jimmy Burke in 2012. That was quite a story. After stealing the cops' sex toys, sending the controversial cop to prison, and he said he remains convinced the former chief was somehow involved in Heuermann's monstrous crime. So he's trying to get that cop looped into the Long Island serial killer case. Dumb. Number 3, this in the Anna Kepner case. Since you guys are asking, I did check out the docket again today. I haven't seen anything new in there, but from people.com, stepbrother charged with SAing and murdering Anna Kepner is not in custody, still with family. Prosecutors announced on April 10th that Mr. Hudson, 16-year-old stepbrother of Anna Kepner, had been indicted on charge of murder and aggravated SA by a federal grand jury and would be tried as an adult. 5 days later, he is still not in custody and continues to spend his days at the home of his uncle or accompanying his father to work, according to documents filed in federal court in Miami. And that is the document that we read yesterday. And there's a reason for this. It is because they have to go through the process. It's now transferred to adult court. He has to have a bond hearing. It'll probably be revoked. That's my guess. But for now, he remains a free young man. And now for the good news of the day. The good news of the day. This coming to us from today.com. Chick-fil-A employee returns $10,000 found in bathroom. Oh my goodness, I love people sometimes. Written by Joseph Lamore for today.com. A fast food worker, look at his face. A fast food worker and a Chick-fil-A employee to boot. A fast food worker and Good Samaritan made sure a customer was blessed with relief on Easter weekend. On April 3rd, Jaden Cintrone, a Chick-fil-A worker in Kinston, North Carolina, became a hero to a customer who had misplaced 2 envelopes containing $9,833 in cash. He found them that morning in the men's restroom. Quote, they were on the floor next to the toilet. My first thought was just like, okay, no, this isn't happening. Citrone told NBC affiliate WITN on April 7th, something is wrong. According to the affiliate, one envelope was labeled First Citizens Bank with $5,000 inside and another labeled Truist Bank with $4,333 inside. Rather than pocket the money himself, he picked it up and brought it to Human Resources, Cintrone said. John McFall, the owner-operator of the Kinston Chick-fil-A, says he's grateful for employees like Cintrone. Quote, acts like this reflect the values our restaurants aim to uphold each day, and we're proud to see that lived out here at Chick-fil-A in Kinston, McFall said in a statement provided to Today by Chick-fil-A. Cintrone told the station the money was returned to its owner, who offered him $500 for tuning it in. Quote, I don't want anything out of this, he told WITN, declining the money several times before he eventually relented. I was in the right place at the right time, but more than that, my faith teaches me to do what's right and care for others, Cintrone said in a statement provided to Today by Chick-fil-A. Knowing how devastating it would be to lose something like that, I just wanted to make sure it got back to its owner. I'm grateful I could help, and I'm humbled by the response. Let's get his picture up here one more time. Mr. Jaden Cintrone, thank you, sir, for being a good Samaritan that restores my faith in humanity and, ends the segment of headlines. Here we go.
True crime headlines.
All righty, let's end this show strong. Deeply appreciate the super chat from Galen Gam. I always appreciate your reporting. I am a little concerned that they have a law that they're trying to pass in California against citizen journalism. I better look that up. Thank you very much, Galen. It's a First Amendment thing. If there is a law that is passed against citizen journalism, it will go straight to the Supreme Court very quickly, and it will be tossed very quickly. It is in the First Amendment. So funny. Very good. Jenny says, Autumn, Gavin is a diamond in the rough, in my humble opinion. Thank you. He is always very level-headed, will look at all sides, is very fair, love his coverage. I thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. Let's see. Cowboy Logic, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, for a fact, was the 800-pound gorilla in the room for well over 100 years. Those days are gone. Indeed, the Post-Gazette is gone. Not the only one in Western Pennsylvania. Melanie Main says, yes, well said, Gavin. Not sure what you agree with, but thank you for agreeing with me. Ohio Palm Mom says, when so many traditional media sources are owned by the same entity, the slanted viewpoint of the employer can come through regardless of the writer. Indeed. Debbie says, yes, Mrs. Guthrie is the missing point. That's probably what Melanie was saying. She is the point. She is the point. And Wanda's nephews with their harmonies, pretty amazing, right? Anything else you guys want me? Let's see. Coffee Time for D says, I would be Wayne Gretzky. You know, Wayne Gretzky is a guy too. I like Wayne Gretzky. That is a good choice for sure. See if there's anything else. Affordsable. Ms. Ford Sable. Any future ascot sightings? Well, I see the ascot all the time, and every once in a while I will even wear it to church, like on a chilly day. Will we do an ascot me anything? Will we be wearing an ascot? I guess, what is our next, I guess, what would be the next major milestone? 200,000 subscribers, maybe? Or, let's see, if I go to, mute this, just looking, right now I have 16,856,172 views, maybe 20 million views. We could do an Ask Got Me Anything, something like that. That would be good. And Debbie saying, we love our velvet-voiced, fair reporting hippie. You guys are most kind. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me tonight. Remember, there are links in the description, in the show notes, all throughout, wherever you watch or listen to this program. Spotify, on the different podcast platforms, or right here on YouTube. Visit my website, gavinfish.com. Oh, I did want to announce that I am starting up in earnest a weekly, I'm restarting the Crime Cod week newsletter, and I'm going to be doing it weekly. It's going to be a Tuesday newsletter. Okay, so if you go to my website, gavinfish.com, let me bring it up here for you. For those waiting around to the end, you guys are awesome. And you scroll down to the bottom, that will get you to where you can subscribe to the Crime Cod newsletter. Also, the first time that you're on my site, I don't make it super obnoxious, but the first time you're on my site, it will pop up. Also, if you click on Crime Cod up at the top, that will take you to crimecod.com, where that's my full-on news website. It has the same place where you can subscribe. It has the same pop-up, and it has a link like newsletter, and it has a little thing where you can subscribe to the newsletter. So there are multiple ways that you can subscribe to the Crime Cod newsletter. A newsletter did go out today to my 2,866 subscribers to that newsletter. It will go out every Tuesday. I invite you to subscribe. I usually get 2 or 3 new subscriptions a day. That would be fun. Maybe that's when I do an Ask Got Me Anything, when we get to like 10,000 subscribers on the Crime Cod newsletter. Definitely do that. The newsletter is going to have, it's going to be kind of a weekly roundup thing. What are the cases that you should be looking at? What are some of the things that I have said and published? I plan on making it so that it's not just a promotion for yours truly. It is a newsletter worthy of reading. There will be some brief articles from me. So lots and lots and lots to do. Please subscribe to Crime Cod if you haven't already done it. It's an easy and free way to support the channel. And another easy and free way to support the channel is to share this with people so that they too can subscribe. I would just love your help on that. Also, remember, you're always welcome to join us in the fish tank. I did publish my high protein, in air quotes, cheesecake recipe that you guys have been asking for in the tank. It's an easy recipe. There's a picture of the cheesecake that I made last night. I've already had 3 pieces of it, but it's within my dietary, plan. So I did it. If you want the recipe, there she be, and that's a good reason to be over there in the tank. We don't only do true crime. We do apparently recipes now. Maybe I need to put a recipe into the Crime Cod newsletter. Maybe your recipes could go in the Crime Cod newsletter. There's so many great ideas. So many great ideas. With that, guys, thank you again for your support. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking around to the end. And I bid you adieu until the next time. And until then, take care of yourselves. We'll see you then. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.